Hello soulmates, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and if you are new to this channel, you're very much welcome. So in my previous video I uploaded the tutorial of this beautiful gown showing right now on the screen. So my recreation is the black and white outfit. So I uploaded this tutorial using a freehand method, and some of you requested that I draft this same style on pattern paper. So in today's video I'll be showing you how to draft this particular style on your pattern paper. If you haven't seen the tutorial where I use the freehand method, so I will link it up here, and I'll also pin it down in the comment section for you to watch. So if you're interested in the pattern drafting of this gown, please like this video, drop a lovely comment in the comment section, share this video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe to this channel. So without wasting much time, let's get right into the video. So guys, let's start with the upper bodies. So this is the front upper bodies, and this pattern has my shoulder, my armhole, my bust, and also my waist. So this is not a bustier pattern. In case you want to use a bustier pattern, you can use a princess dart bustier. It will work for this, but this pattern I will just be using my waist dart and my side dart. So at my bust area, I measured my bust divided by 4, and as the waist area, I'll be measuring my waist divided by 4. Then I'll be adding my dart allowance. So if you notice, I'm not adding my sewing allowance yet. This is because I'm drafting a pattern. When I'm drafting a pattern, I don't like to add my sewing allowance, but if you want to add yours, you can add yours, so that when you are transferring this to your fabric, you transfer the exact pattern. But I like to leave the sewing allowance out when I'm drafting, but I will add it when I'm transferring it. So now to locate your dart, you measure your nipple to nipple measurement plus half inch. My nipple to nipple measurement is 7, and 7 divided by 2, that's 3.5, plus half inch, that's 4. So for the length of the dart is always 1 inch below the bust. As you can see that my dart length is not getting to the bust area, it's like 1 inch below. So that's how the dart length should be. So this is what I have. So let's make the side dart. So at this bust area, I'll be going down by 1 inch. Then for this part here, I'll measure my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. Then I'll just go in with about 2 inches, because I don't want the side dart to be getting to this nipple to nipple point. I want it to be like 2 inches away. So now I'll connect it from this side here just to this other point. I'm sorry this pencil is not showing very well, but I hope you get what I'm trying to do. So now for the neckline, I'll be cutting the bishop neckline that is in the inspiration picture. So for this, I'm using 2.5 by 2.5. If your neck circumference is more than 14, this measurement will not work for you, because my neck circumference is 14 inches. That's why this 2.5 by 2.5 at the front pattern will work for me. So for the back, I will also tell you what I use for the back. And in case you don't want a bishop neckline like my clients, so you can use any neckline of your choice. Preferable a round neckline sha. So this is my neckline for the front, and like I said, this is 2.5 by 2.5. So I'm cutting out my front bodies right now. So this is my back bodies, and the difference between these back bodies and the front bodies is just 1 inch. That was why I was able to do my bust that at the front. So that's my zipper allowance at that point, and this is my shoulder, this is my armhole, and this is my waist. So I went ahead to also draw the armhole. So the next thing I will do now is to measure my bust measurement divided by 4 at my armhole. Then at the waist area, I will measure my waist divided by 4. Then I will add my dart allowance of 1 inch. As you can see that I'm taking all these measurements after the zipper allowance. Don't measure your zipper allowance together with it, or else your measurements will be wrong. So now to prevent zip bulging, I usually go inward by half inch at this point. Then I'll just blend it towards this armhole point like this. So whatever I take out here, I will add it back as my waist, or else the measurements will not be correct. So whatever you take out there, add it back. So if you are not using half inch, whatever you take out, just add it back. So for the back neckline, I'm using 2.5 inches wide, and for the depth of the neckline, I'm using 1 inch. You know, for the front we use 2.5 by 2.5, but for the back I'm using 2.5 inches wide, then 1 inches deep. So that is what I'm using, and this measurement is taken after the zipper allowance. Please don't make that mistake. So for your shoulder slope, you go down by 1 inch, then you just connect like this. I hope this pattern drafting is clear up to this point. If you have any question, you can raise up your hand. Sorry, you can let me know in the comment section. So now go ahead and cut this out, then our back bodice is ready. So this is the back and this is the front. So I will also go ahead and locate the darts for the back. So it's just like the way you located the one for the front, but you first measure out your zipper allowance, then your nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 plus ½ inch. Then you go ahead, locate the point. So for the length of the dart, so the back dart is always longer than the front. So this one is almost getting to my armhole, but it's just like 1 inch below my armhole line. So it's just like 1 inch below my armhole line. So that's that about that. So that's the dart there. So now I want to measure the neckline for you. So in case like I said, my neck circumference is 14 inches. So when I measure this like this, so this is 3, and for the front here I have 4. So, and you know this is just one side, so when I multiply it by 2 I have 14. So if your neck circumference is more than 14 inches, that's if you are even using a bishop neckline, so you just try and increase the neckline to fit in your neck measurement. So let's move over to the skirt pattern. So for this skirt pattern, I will be stinging with my pattern paper. Sorry about that. So this pattern paper is folded into 2. I'll be stinging about this pattern paper because I don't want to draft another one for the back. So I'll be drafting for the front, but if you want to transfer this for your back, you just go ahead and add the zipper allowance. So this is the length I'll be using. So I'm placing my tape rule from my waist half length measurement. So now this is getting to length 50, but actually if I want to make this gown for myself, it will be like 54 inches length. But I'm just using the length of this pattern paper because I'm just explaining. I don't need this pattern. So now I'm locating my short gown length. Here is 38. So you will need that. So that's my half length over there. So for my hip length, I usually just count 8 inches below, but please, you can measure this, but 8 inches below works for me, and you know I'm size 6, so if you're bigger than me, it may not work for you. So now you rule a line across those points, but for this short gown length, I'll be going upward by 6 inches. So I'm placing my tape again on that point, which is 38, and then I will count 6 inches upward. Then I'll just rule a line at that point. So my 6 inches upward, that will be 32 inches for me. So now at the waist area, hey, I'm sorry this is not showing, but I measured my waist divided by 4. Okay, it is showing right now. So I measured my waist divided by 4, then I added my dart allowance. So for the hip area, I'll just be measuring my hip measurement divided by 4. So my hip is 36 divided by 4, I have 9 inches. So for this other part too, I'll be measuring the 9 inches. Then I'll connect this waist to the hip area. Then I'll just connect this other part. You know it is straight, so I'll just use my straight ruler to connect. If you watch the freehand method of this gown, where I drafted this gown using the freehand method, you will notice I was mentioning slit allowance. But for this pattern drafting, we don't need a slit allowance. This is because we'll just be transferring it to our fabric, then we'll be adding any slit allowance we want to add. So now at the hip area, you go down by about 5 inches. We go down by 5 inches. Now we want to make the pencil effect because we don't want this gown to just be straight like that. We want to make a pencil effect. So I'm taking 3/4 inches away, but from that 4 inches that I went down, I will just connect it like this towards this part. So on that line there, I measured 3/4 inches. Then I'll just be connecting it towards the hip area. As you can see what I'm doing, but for the rest I'll just be rolling it downward. So that's my 3/4 inches. So I just want this to be pencil a little bit. So this is what the pattern is looking like. So now let's locate the dart point. So your nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 plus ½ inch. So for my dart length, I'm using 5 inches for my dart length. So you go ahead and just locate the darts. So let me use my marker for this. So ½ inch to the right, ½ inch to the left, like this. So this is what the dart looks like. So now I'll go ahead and cut this. I'll cut it out. Then for this dart here, I will use my tracing wheel to trace it on the other side, because I want this dart to show on the other side. So I've traced this out. So let me open up this pattern. Like I said, so if I want to cut the back, instead of drafting another pattern, I'll just quickly use this pattern to cut my back. Then I will just add the zipper allowance. So you know the zipper allowance for the back, you will add this, then you just cut it on your fabric. So that's the part I said I'll be stinging with. So I don't want to cut another one for the
So
back.
guys, the next thing we'll be doing now is to transfer these darts, like to rule out this dart that we transferred earlier. So I'm using my pencil to mark the dart point out. So the next thing to do now is to locate where we want the slit to be, if you want it on the right or on the left. But I want mine to be on the left, so I'll be using this dart part. So I'll be extending the tip of this dart downward. So the tip of that dart is your nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 plus ½ inch. So my nipple to nipple measurement is 7, so 7 divided by 2, that's 3.5, plus ½ inch, that's 4 inch. So I'm marking this point downward so that when I want to roll this line, it will be straight. So I'll be rolling the line straight downward, like just downward like this, up to the end of your gown length. So after you've done that, the next thing to do now is to open this part up. You have to open this part up. So after you are done, this is what we have right here. So this is what we have right here. So for us to locate where the flare will be for the slit, you measure 10 inches downward. You measure 10 inches downward like this. So this is my 10 inches. In case your hip point is way above 10 inch, you can just do 2 inches below your hip length. You know my hip length is 8, so it's like 2 inches below my hip point. So like that. So at this point here, you take in about 1.5 to 2 inches or even 3 inches, but I'm using 1.5 right here. So the point of this is just to cut out some fabric here, so that when we want to insert our flare, it will stay in very well. So I marked 1.5 inches downward, and at this middle I marked about 1 inch. This is because I just want to blend it in. So I just want to blend it in into this part. So at the edge of the gown I measured 1.5, at the middle part I measured 1. Then I'll be blending it towards this 10 inches that we went down from the waist area. So this is what it looks like. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to cut that part away. So we don't need that part. So this is what we have. So this is what our pattern is looking like. So this is the part where we'll fix our flare. So now for you to know the length of the flare, so what I did was to measure this line. So I measured this line. So mine is about 25 inches or so. So you measure what you have there. So that will be the length of the flare you'll be cutting. So you insert it into this place. You still have to watch that my other video so that you can understand how to fix the flare. So for this dart part here, so that is the point we'll be adding our slit allowance. So when you want to transfer this to your fabric, you can either add half or just 1 inch. So now I'm cutting away the dart point so that when I want to add the slit allowance, I'll just add it directly and I'll just sew it ½ inch. So that is that about that. So for the sleeve, so you measure your wrist measurement, that is up to this point, but the sleeve is longer than the wrist measurement, so it's like 4 inches below the wrist. So you have to add the extension of the 4 inches. So I'll go up by 2 inches from the actual wrist measurement. So I'll go up by 2 inches. So these 2 inches, I'll add it to the extra 4 inches. So the flare I'll be cutting for this sleeve will be 6 inches. So now from your accurate sleeve measurement, just go up by 2 inches, cut it away. Then you add this 2 inches, that is just 2 plus the 4 inches extension, that's 6. So you measure what you have at the wrist area. That is what will be the opening of the flare we'll be cutting. So now this is my flare. Like I folded this paper into 4. Then I want to measure the wrist measurement. So my wrist measurement is about 9 inches. So I first measured 1 inch it was not enough. It was about 8 inches, so I increased this to about 1.5. So I increased this opening to about 1.5, and it was a little bit more than my wrist measurement, but I can just make a little pleat. I don't want much pleats, I'll just make a little pleat. So from that point to get there, just measure your 6 inches, that is the flare length, your 6 inches, measure it all around, then you go ahead and just cut like this. So you go ahead and cut, then you cut the opening too, just like this. So this is the flare that will be at the edge of your fabric, like of your sleeve rather. So this is what it will look like. Yeah. So now for the collar of the bishop, in case you want to use the bishop neckline, so I have a tutorial on that. You can ask me in the comment section, or I can even pin it in the comment section for you. So if you follow this pattern drafting method, you should get this result. But for the neckline, like I said, I used a different neckline. So this is just a round wide neckline. So this is what the outcome looks like after I was done sewing. So after I was done sewing, this is what the outcome looks like. So you have to watch the freehand method for you to know how to place this button on it, because I explained the distance between these buttons and all. So if you haven't seen that video, please go ahead and watch the video. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any question, please drop it for me in the comment section, and if you haven't liked this video, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.